The unlawful death of George Floyd, Trump's executive order trying to regulate or whatever with the social media companies, the protest of the death of this man and other people that have died prior to this time, and the looting of stores and other places like that, and the vandalization that ensued afterwards. Today is going to be a very interesting podcast, and it's going to be a packed one. Join me as we analyze and talk about these things and my own view of what is going on and why it matters. I am Asama Raju. Welcome to Astropods. All right, where do we start from? Okay. All right, so it started with Twitter taking or like putting it's two different stories actually. I just want to cover them both, right? There's the Twitter issue with Trump when they kind of put like a fact check on his tweet saying when he talked about people should like how mailing ballots is fraud and is to encourage or allow for a very unfair voter system, and it to be fraudulent, and it to be rigged and all those things. And Twitter kind of put a fact check on it. Then Trump, went bananas. He was upset. Okay, and now he's trying to regulate it and all those things. But I think he issued an executive order to use the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, to kind of police the affairs of the social media platforms and companies, talking about Facebook, Twitter, Google, and a host of others. All right. Now, but the thing is, this is very interesting because when I read that story, I was able to understand that it is almost impossible to regulate the social media because of the law that was passed in 1996, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So the 1996, there's a law passed in 1996 that basically prohibits any form of regulation on whatever they post on the platform of social medias. So they call it the Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act. It's basically a federal law that exempts online platforms from legal liabilities on the content their users post on their websites. Period. That's why he has always used Twitter to express himself. So if they were not independent, how would have that be possible? It's still leveraging on the independence of the social media, because if they were to be taking out things and doing whatever, and if they could be clamped upon in terms of their operation, they would. Would that be possible for the presidency to be using the Twitter to express himself and further his agenda? Because you cannot start seeing some of these things on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News, because they are bound by law to regulate, and because they are publishers of news, they are not distributors. That's the difference. But for me, I just find it a little bit like the policeman killed George Floyd, Mr. George Floyd, I call him. I think this thing happens a lot in this country, where we have an issue, a public outcry, a massive issue going on, and some people always try to steal or change the narrative, So now, this is not just because of George Floyd died. This is what it's more about what it represents. Because when you see that, because I've been on the protest, I was part of the people that protested on Saturday. I was there, in the city and New York, and what I saw was a lot of us. There was well-meaning people, responsible people. A lot of people had their masks and facial coverings on, and people were even sharing water. I talked about this the other time in my last podcast. People were very, very law-abiding, doing the right things, and even those that couldn't walk with us, some just stood by but in front of their houses and just like cheered us on basically. And people are on the placards that says no justice, no peace, stop racial discrimination, silence is violence. So many things like that they are saying. So it's not just, apart from people are saying that justice for Ahmaud Arbery, justice for George Floyd, justice for Breonna Taylor. It is beyond that. It is what this thing represents. And what I saw was a lot of white folks, and I was really, really encouraged. A lot of white folks were protesting, and they were, working with us and saying things and marching and holding their placards and, and everybody writes also things on it, no to police, no police, many good things like that, which I support. And historically, many places where you see protest, you see vandalization, because people want to put their hanger on things, and when there's vandalization, there comes looting. This is not right. I'm not saying that this is a good thing to loot, because looting is just bad, simple. But what I'm saying is that it is not like, oh, they're not looting. It happens when there's protest. These are one of the reasons why they don't want people to protest, because when you start protesting, people get upset, and when they get upset, they want to express their anger, and when they express their anger, they vandalize, and when they vandalize, they loot. It's one thing. It's like a sequential thing. It leads to the next. Now, what I'm saying is that we can look at this from that angle, but we should not let some people steal or change the narrative. Because now when I look at the news, what I see is that looting, federal agents, this, Antifa, white supremacists, and this and that. We should keep our eyes on the goal. We should keep our eyes on the goal. We have a mission, and the mission, I said before, it is a three. I think it's three different things, and I think I want to commend the former President Barack Obama for putting up a statement like an essay on the Medium platform, where people write their blogs and stuff. Medium.com, if you want to check it out, Medium.com. Barack Obama has an essay on it today, where he actually says that the issue here is not just about, if you are serious about fighting this, we have to deal with it from the legislative angle. We should not let this whole thing like move us away or sway us away from the actual thing we want to get done. And that's my message today. Like, our problem is the systemic injustice, the institutionalized racism and inequality in this country. All right, that is a problem. Now, the death of George Floyd and the fact that they killed Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery is just like the highlights of what we are saying. But a lot of people did not die, but they are still constantly being marginalized on a daily basis. A lot of people are in jail now for what if they were not black, they will not be in jail for. When Joe Biden passed that law that if you have 5 grams of crack cocaine and you have 500 grams of powdered cocaine, you serve the same jail time. It's basically telling you I don't, if that's not racist, I don't know what it is. So these are things that we have to work on, and these laws are already in place, because this is one of the reasons why will never be part of Joe Biden's campaign or whatever he represents, because of what he has done in terms of passing those kind of laws that disproportionately affects the people of color. And you cannot claim ignorant that you don't know that it affects people of color. You said that you want to put them in jail. Now, I don't want to go. I don't want to be swayed from the fact, from what I'm trying to say today. I think we have to work on 3 different things: legislation, all right, economic empowerment, and psychological psychological awareness. We have to find legislation. That's when there'll be consequences for some kind of actions, and not only that, we also have to basically create a kind of social engagement that people will be educated. So education, legislation, and psychological change. People, and that comes with information with the mass media. So now, when the mass media is talking about, oh, some people are looting, it's like they are taking our mind away from the real facts, which is the people, what they are protesting for. They are protesting for equality. That is what they're protesting for. They're protesting for, because if that man was white, would he have been a dead man today? I bet you he'll be alive today. If that man was white, if George Floyd was white, would you have put your neck on his neck when he was saying that he's feeling severe pains already? When he was crying for help, calling his mama? Would you have done that to him? No. Would Ahmaud Arbery would he have been a dead man today if it was a white man that was jogging and went to a construction building and then ran out and was jogging on his own? Would he have been followed and tamed and killed the way he was killed if he was white? That is what we are fighting for. That is what we are protesting. We are not protesting that we don't want police or we don't want this. No, we are protesting for the institution that makes that to happen. This country is really, really racist. And if America will not really be democratic, will not really be civil, will not really lead the world in terms of equality and fairness, if we cannot address our own inherent problem. That is what we are talking about. It is not about this looters, because I was down on the protesting ground. I walked like miles with the people, and when it was getting dark, I left. We left. Now, people, I would say there's some vested interest that maybe some groups that want to incite violence when it's dark, and then they make that, because what I'm saying is that they are changing the narrative, and I want America to understand that we have an issue here, that people always do these things. Whenever we are protesting about something, somebody comes, a group comes, maybe the white supremacist comes or the Antifa comes to sway our minds from the actual things. We don't. I mean, if you take the police to be present there at night even more and make sure that nobody is doing any looting, what we want is legislation. What we want is the media to keep talking, to keep putting pressure on the system to change these systemic flaws. That's what we want. What we want is that there's no reason for a black man or a minority to feel like a second-class citizen in his own country. That's what we're talking about. We want the law to be fair across the board. So that is the issue. So when these people try to say things and move us from what we are focusing on, no. The people that have died, they deserve to be duly compensated. I'm talking about their families. But the issue we are talking about is an issue that we need to start working on it now, because it's going to take a while. And guess what, guys? The kids unborn, or the little ones that are being born right now, they are coming to a world where they have a lot to do in terms of development, in terms of advancement, in terms of science. They are very smart kids. If you hear those kids talk, the only thing we can do for them, at least, is to make sure that the system that they will inherit will be so fair that it will allow for that black boy or that Hispanic girl anywhere in the world to have the same footing as the white child, because they are so smart. If this is all we can do in this our own generation, let us do it for these kids that are unborn. And on this note, I would like to end my podcast. I hope you love it, you enjoy it. Please comment, like, download. Let me know how you feel. And I say again, Black Lives Matter. I stand with the people that stand for equality. And if you white, if you whatever, and you're silent, that means you are showing that you are giving your consent. And that is not acceptable. You gotta understand that this is beyond us. This is not just about you. For us to be truly free, we have to be free indeed. Thank you, and that's my podcast for today. I remain Hassan Olanrewaju. This is Astopods. Bye for now.